All right, people, Mr. Right here with lesson 34 for trombone. In this lesson, we're going to talk about the chromatic scale and how to break it down into small sections so that you can create a structure of it in your mind. So if you will look at the lesson, we're going to, for right now, skip over the first exercise and just look at the second one because I think you'll see more clearly the little sections that I'm talking about. For instance, in this first two measures, we have the first section. Now, there's 7 positions on the slide. Actually, there's more, but we'll just say there's generally 7 positions. And it goes 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then the next little section, that same sequence. Then we go up like this, and it just starts on 5. Then the next section, 4, then 3. So you see it gets starting with smaller numbers each time. Then we go back down the exact same way. Now, do not do a chromatic scale, as I've heard some students at auditions do this. They'll go. That is not a chromatic scale. It's understood that you're going to have to tongue each one of those notes. All right. Now, a neat thing, if you do happen to have a trigger, you can even break these little sections down even further. Instead of playing the first note in 7th position, you could play it in 2nd and a half and then in first for these first 2 notes, the low E and the F. Some people say just start on your F. I like to start with a low E because it enables me to use the same sequence of slide positions as this upper partial in the overtone series. So, but if we're going to start with this low E, we can start in 2nd and a half to first position, then pop out for just 2 positions that are beyond the bell. Another thing that you want to use to compartmentalize the chromatic scale is positions beyond the bell and positions that are in front of the bell, like 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Or if you're using the trigger, you go 2 and a half to 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, like this. As opposed to 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, if you don't have the trigger, then just 7, 6, 5, 4, etc. But we're going to back up now and go back here with number 1. My metronome is set for 100 beats per minute to save a little bit of time here, but you can go at 80 beats per minute. That'd be great. But this starts with the low E, and I'm going to play it in 2nd and a half with a trigger. You would start in 7th position. If your arm is not long enough to reach 7th position, you could bring the slide to the right, and your shoulder will add length to your arm to where you can reach, hopefully, 7th position. You just go like this, and then your arm becomes suddenly longer because you're also using your shoulder as an extension of your arm to make it longer, further away from your torso. It just dawned on me that I'd never shown you 7th position. In lesson 18, number 4, I think it is, I went through the Remington exercise where we learned to tune each note. Of course, first position's all the way in. Second position, most of the time. Second position is when you're seeing about a ½ an inch of the silver slide. Depending on the note, there's really 3 different second positions, but we won't get into that too much. But you want to use your ear to go like from an F to an E natural. Then go back to that F. Down to your E flat in third. And you'll use your ear to tune it up. Usually it's when this little crossbar here is right before the slide on some trombones. And then, so that's down to third. Then to go to 4th position, usually it's when the end of the slide's even with the bell, sometimes on some trombones, but then the 5th position, closer to 6th position than it is to 4th. Okay, about in there somewhere. Then 6th position. Alright, and then the 7th position is usually when the slide gets to be about, when you see where the slide gets larger, when you're showing about 1 inch of that lower stock of the slide, where the slide gets longer. So yep. 1 inch of that larger section of the slide. And again, if your arms are not long enough, you can just move your trombone to the right, and then you use your shoulder to make your arm longer so that you can reach 7th position. Or you can use a trigger and go to your low like that, and it makes life easy. So here we go. Here's number 1. 1, 1, 2, and half notes. So that's number 1. In a way that you can also practice this chromatic scale is think about practicing just those little small chunks. Like, for instance, the 2nd and a half to 1st if you're using a trigger. Then, so I went the low E to the F, then the F sharp to the G. Then 3, 2, 1. Then the next partial, the B natural to the C, that's using the trigger. Then, so that whole lower octave, okay, that's the lower, and that's the way I think of it when I'm practicing it slowly. I just break it up in those little sections and I get those notes in tune. Then we go for your upper register. You're starting off with the F sharp in 5th position, then the 3, 2, 1, the A flat, A natural, and the B flat. Then you got a B natural out here in 4th. Then, so you're up at the top F. Then coming back down, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you're using the trigger, your C to your B natural. Then B flat, A flat. So that's how I kind of break it up. But let's do number 2, 100 beats per minute. And it's written so that the sections are, there's a rest in between each one of these sections that you want to be thinking about. Here's number 2. 1, 2, 3. And I forgot to use the trigger on my C and B natural down there. This exercise, number 2, is not broken up the way I normally do using the trigger. Anyway, you kind of get an idea. That's the major sections of the chromatic scale. Number 3, I'm going to go a little bit slower now, and you want to make sure these notes are in tune. If you go real fast and the notes are a little bit out of tune, it's not that impressive. Number 3, and let me see what's going on. Oh, we got quarter notes here that it lands on at the end of each measure, or on beat 3 here in the 3rd measure. So, okay. Ready? Number 3. 1 and 2. Right. 4, 3, 4, 3, 4. All right, and then just without any breaks at all, this is your chromatic scale number 4. I'll just play it straight up and down. Starts on low E, goes up to the high F. 1, 2, use your tongue. Okay, so that's lesson 34 on your chromatic scale.